Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Iyun. Today we have Perek Gimel, Mishnah Dalet. And hey, Mishnah Dalet and hey really say basically the same thing. Mishnah Dalet talks about a pot of food. Mishnah Hey talks about a loaf of bread. If you use peels of Orlah fruit and you use it as firewood, I didn't know that you could use it as fire. We take a pomegranate, you skin off the peel, and apparently you can use it as fuel. I didn't know that it lights on fire, but apparently it does. And you use it to bake bread, to cook a food. You're out of natural gas. You're out of natural gas. Russia turned off the Nordic pipeline, so you're in Germany. You're out of gas. You have Orlah fruit. Orlah fruit applies to even in Chutz La'aretz, even in Germany. So, what are you gonna do? So, if you use Orlah fruits to light the fire, the tavshil, the pot of food, or the bread becomes asr b'hana. As I explained before in the previous shurim, the Isra Hana by Orlah is a more severe Isra than a regular Isra Hana in the Torah. A regular Isra Hana in the Torah, when it says it's derived from this, when it says Lo Yoichelu, right? The Gemara in the beginning of Psachim, in the beginning of the second parak, talks about it. Machal Chizkiah and Ula. What's the base of Isra Hana? Talking about Chametz over there. It's either anytime it says Achila, Hana is included, or it says Lo Tochelu, something like that, a different lashon of achilas. There includes hana. So machlok is over there, but that's talking about an isra hana when it comes to foods, right? The isra hana, you can't benefit from it, even to anoint your oil with it or to derive any benefit to cook your food with that food that's asra hana, because you might come to eat it. It's like zera del rice, you might come to eat it. However, we mentioned by Orlah that things you can't even color. Your clothes with it, use the dye from the peels. You can't do that because it's a different type of Isra Hana. It's a more severe type of Isra Hana, where it's not an Isra Hana that you might come to eat it. It's an Isra Hana where you have to show respect to it. You have to savor Peiros Orlah and the Klipe Orlah Es Pirio Tafel Pirio. The peels are subordinate to the actual fruit itself. You have to savor the moment. Orlah, you have to enjoy the fruit of the fifth year, the fourth year, and the third year is not as good. You want to savor the moment. Kedusha is to do something in the right time, in the way where you enjoy it the most. So you have to separate from it in a place where you won't enjoy it. And there's a concept here, Mishnah Dalet and Hey, that yesh shvach eitzim b'pas, that if I would take something that's asra b'hana, let's say chametz or something like that, and I would use it to use fuel for my fire, something was chametz, and let's say we'll be able to light a fire and be able to cook my bread over there. I'm not sure that there's a concept of yesh shvach eitzim b'pas. Yesh shvach eitzim b'pas means there's a benefit of the eitzim in the pas itself. Now, does that mean that you can taste the whatever you use to light the fire in the bread? Maybe that's what it means. But the word shvach means there's it's a benefit. It benefits it, and maybe it benefits it depending on how you light the fire, how you cook. Right? There's different ways of cooking. You can cook with natural gas. You can cook with electric, stove. There's different types of stove, and food will taste different based on whether you use an electric stove or whether you used natural gas was fueling your fire. Now you can't really taste it in the food. However, as I mentioned, when it comes to tavshil and bread, these things are things which are achila, and the hana of achila is the svia, is being full. Hanas a me'ayim, that you're full from the food, and that's something metaphysical. We can't really have control over that. So depending on what you use as fuel for the fire, that's going to produce either more contentment with the food, or less contentment, less satisfaction, less contentment with the food, with the final product. Right, whether you will be full from the bread or not. That's shvach eitzim b'pas, and therefore, since by Isra Hana, by Orlah, even this applies not just to the physical realm, but even to the metaphysical realm, because, right, as I mentioned, it's a more severe type of Hana, of benefit, even metaphysically to benefit from it. So therefore, that's the concept of the Yishvach Eitzim B'pas, which applies specifically to Orlah and things like Truma and things like that, where Isra Hana is not based on the Achila, it's based on savoring the moment, using it in the right Kedusha, using it in the right moment, and therefore it extends to the metaphysical, and that's Yishvach Eitzim B'pas. Only would apply to this type of Isra Hana, because there's more satiation, you'll be more satisfied with bread that's cooked with Orlah, if there is, right, if it's going to produce better bread, and that satiation is considered chashuv enough to be asur b'hana, which will only apply by this category of asur hana, not by the regular category of asur hana, which is based on not coming to eat the actual davar asur. That's the conclusion of today's shir. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.